Separately to नहीं हुई because
We are
yesterday
live now.
Okay. So my sound is clear. My video is clear. Okay. Greetings, Assalamu alaikum, and good evening, our READ community, viewers, and all the guests who have joined today, and people who are watching us globally. Welcome to our first two-day collaborative event of READ Pakistan and International Institute of Humanology. Human Evolution Through Books. Ladies and gentlemen, through this event, we are going to introduce science of humanology to our READ community. I would be the moderator of the event on both days. By profession, I'm a mechanical engineer and social entrepreneur. I joined READ Pakistan in 2018 and co-founded READ Pakistan KSA chapter. Worked 5 years as Event and Information Secretary, recently appointed as Vice President of International Chapters to launch READ Pakistan globally. And today's event would be an icebreaker to connect the international community with READ Pakistan, followed by a series of events. But before I disclose the details of the event, let me introduce a brief profile of both organizations. READ Pakistan was founded in 2012 to promote reading culture. The founder of the organization is Assistant Attorney General of Pakistan, Mr. Farooq Dal, and co-founder, Madam Sayyida Fatima Gilani. Both individuals are committed to encourage reading habits, particularly in youth. The vision and mission of READ Pakistan is to empower minds through reading, developing knowledge-based society through power of books and reading. READ Pakistan has launched history's largest campaign to establish 100,000 libraries in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, all human beings have their own persona, feelings, emotions, and way of living. And humanology is a science of understanding human nature. Humanology helps human beings change their lives by empowering them personally and professionally. The International Institute of Humanology develops and supports this new discipline to study and explain human beings. It was founded by Ms. Jessica J Lockhart in 2013. She is also an internationally renowned prize-winning speaker and author. Recently joined READ Pakistan as READ Ambassador from Panama. With its twin headquarters in Switzerland and Panama, the Institute offers training courses focused on humanology and all its methods and materials, while certifying the knowledge and utter professional quality of the humanologists and optimism coaches trained by them. Ladies and gentlemen, before I move on to its agenda and event details, and of course, the introduction of our honorable guests who have joined today, I want to invite Sayyida Fatima Gilani for her opening remarks. So has she joined us?
Okay, she might be having some technical difficulties. That sometimes
maybe she's having, yes, some technical issues. So we will take her comments during the event or during the panel discussion. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned earlier, that this event is planned to introduce the science of humanology to the READ community. Our main theme of the event is human evolution through books, because reading improves our theory of the mind, how we think other people are thinking. Reading helps us empathize much better, letting us to connect with other people more, as it educates us to realize and accept other persons. And this lead us to understand the concepts of humanology. And through this event, we will learn the concepts of humanology and its tools, methods, strategies, techniques, and philosophy. Today, our theme of the day is discovery and understanding. And we have invited well-known and experienced humanologists who are helping human beings through different coaching and mentoring techniques, methodologies, and they will talk about how books can play a vital role in human evolution. Let me introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is Mr. James Seoul. Let me share his profile with you guys, if I can share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, so James Seoul is an optimism coach and entrepreneur who illustrated 2 of the humanology books and directs a creative department at the International Institute of Humanology. And today he is going to talk about the understanding and discoveries about the humanology. Hello, James, how are you?
Hi, J Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure being here. And thank you to everyone that's listening. I hope that you enjoyed this event.
Amazing to see you again. And this time we have switched the seats.
Very true, very true.
Yeah, so next 10 to 15 minutes, the stage is yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much, J. Well, like J mentioned, I am James Seoul. I am the creative director and optimism coach of the International Institute of Humanology, and I'm also a humanologist in training. And I have a topic that I really want to share with you today. It's a topic that I'm extremely, extremely passionate about. It's a topic that I think that can really change the world, something that all human beings need right now, something that can provide the tools necessary for anybody to be able to overcome any obstacle, any problem that life may bring their way. So I want to share this topic with you because I think it's truly amazing. And that topic is humanology. So here goes. Humanology, the birth of a new discipline. So you're asking yourself, why humanology? You know, we have seen throughout history that we have always had these questions that haven't really been able to be answered. You know, we question ourselves of who we are, where we come from, where we're going, what makes us us, what makes us so unique, what makes us different from each other, what makes us the same. Every person has that need, that necessity to understand themselves, to understand, in a way, the meaning of life for each person. But as we have come to realize, we haven't really been able to answer these questions all too well, or at least completely. You know, we have a bunch of different disciplines historically that look at the human being, but have never actually looked at the human being as a whole, as an integral part, as an integral person, looking at every single element of the human being. You know, we have, for example, the discipline of psychology, you know, and as solid as it may be, and as much as it may help a bunch of people, because it does, there's also a lot of people who end up with psychologists, who end up in different types of therapy and feel absolutely profoundly stuck because they're not able to advance any further. And that's because psychology only focuses on the psyche, on the mind. You see, it's only focusing on one element of the human being. It's not taking into consideration a bunch of other things, like, for example, the person's circumstances, their physical health, their background, their many other elements that are extremely important in tackling the different obstacles that a person may face. You know, we can see the same with sociology. You know, sociology studies societies. And yes, it is extremely important to understand different societies and how we work with each other, you know, how communities are created, how different cultures are established. All of that is extremely important, yes. But once again, it just focuses on one single element. let's look at anthropology. Anthropology looks at different ethnicities. And once again, extremely important. All of these disciplines are very important for us, and they're very solid. But it only focuses on different ethnic groups and different societies. It is not taken into consideration, for example, psychology, sociology. As you can see, once again, we find the same problem, which is only focusing on one single discipline. But that's where humanology comes in. Humanology has actually solved that. Isn't that amazing? Humanology is a new discipline that studies and explains human beings in an integral way. It explains the person as a whole, taking into consideration all elements, all aspects of the human being. In fact, working with other disciplines such as psychology, anthropology, and sociology, and many others, we created a discipline that explains the human being so well, so very, very well, that anybody that understands humanology and understands the model of the human being, which I will speak about in just a little bit, is able to understand and comprehend absolutely everybody. Isn't that incredible? If you're able to understand yourself and you're able to understand others, you've got it all. And so I've explained to you what humanology is and why humanology, but let me explain how it was created, where humanology comes from. Humanology was created by Jessica J Lockhart. And this happened when she was working with some clients, and she realized that she was actually using tools and resources from many different disciplines, not just one. She was using tools from life coaching, from mentoring, and even from her extensive knowledge on linguistics. And she realized that there's not one size that fits all. We need to adapt the sessions, we need to adapt the tools and the resources given for each person's needs. And that's where humanology was invented, how it was created. It was created in order to do just that, to be able to provide those tools tailor-made for each individual, so like that they're able to approach their life and take charge and be able to, like I said, tackle absolutely any obstacle or problem in their lives. And that's how humanology was born. I think it's incredible. I think it's a very human way of something to have been created, because it was through human connection, through human understanding, connecting with those other people, with those clients, with that passion to be able to improve things, that it was created. And I think that just that on its own is what makes it so unique, because it had such a positive intent always from the start. So now that we understand all of this, let me explain that we need to understand what our problems are. It's very important. We say, for example, we're not feeling well, we're not happy with our lives. Okay, but we need to understand what is it that we're not happy with. We need to understand what is it that is affecting us, that is the problem for us. And yes, once we've understood what the problem is, that is the first part, and that is extremely important. But that's not enough. You need to also understand who you are. You need to understand who you are as a whole, what makes you you, like what we have been mentioning previously, in order to be able to tackle the problem. Because at the time, the problem or the circumstance or whatever it is that is affecting you, in a way, you've made it your own. You have added it to you. So as it's a part of you, you need to understand yourself in order to understand the problem or be able to solve it. Because if you can't understand yourself, how are you going to solve the problem? So it's important to know the problem and understand who you are. And in order to do this, like we mentioned before, humanology created the model of the human being. It's a model that's so simple yet so profound that anybody, and I mean absolutely anybody of any age, actually, who's able to understand this model is able to understand human beings as a whole in a very deep understanding. And we actually have a wonderful treat, which is we have the founder and creator of Humanology talking about exactly this topic today, later on in another presentation. So I won't dwell too much into this topic myself. I'll just mention it a little bit. These are the 4 elements that appear within the model of the human being. Let me just mention them briefly. So we have our personal essence. Our personal essence is this quality that makes us unique, that element that separates us from everybody else, that makes you you. You know, like for example, we look at twins, identical twins. There's always that difference, that specific difference, right? That's what we're talking about. That personal essence, 2 identical or supposedly identical people, yet they're still different. They still have something that differentiates them. That's our personal essence. And once a person knows their personal essence, they can use it to their advantage to tackle everything in their lives. Mine, for example, is music. I'll let you think about that. The next topic, the next element is our beliefs, our belief system. What we believe, what are our ideologies, what do we stand for? That makes us us. We know that not everybody thinks the same way. We have different opinions. That's okay. That is beliefs, and that's why it's in the model of the human being, because each person has different types of beliefs, but everybody has different beliefs. Then we have the worldview. Our worldview is how we see the world, and that is made up of, well, a bunch of different things, you know, our experiences, our emotions, our connections, a bunch of other things. And each person's way of seeing the world is different. You know, for example, we look at kids. Kids have so much joy. They have this nature of wanting to see the world, of having this curiosity, and they're so happy. Why? Because their worldview is, I want to see it all. Each person's worldview is composed of their own reality. So there's not one reality for all. And then we have our personal sphere. Our personal sphere is an intangible kind of field where all of the other 3 elements are inside. We decide what goes in and what goes out, and all people have this. As you can see, we have these 4 elements that are extremely important, and once you understand this, you're able to understand the person. I've only given you a very, very brief explanation of what it is, because like we said, Jessica's going to be talking about this in one of the presentations later on today. But I just wanted to give you a brief explanation so you wouldn't stay here thinking, what is this of a personal sphere? Well, I don't understand anything. Oh my goodness. No, I wanted to give you just a little bit, just a taste. So now that we see the 4 elements and that we see the model of the human being, yes, we are able to understand people. But we have to realize that each person is different. We are all different. Like we mentioned, the identical twins, they're still different, right? We are all different, and that is a-okay. That's perfect. We need to celebrate that. And humanology does that. It uses the different differences of the people to actually help them advance in their life. They use the differences as something positive, something that can be augmented, something that can be optimized in a way, you know, optimism at the end of the day. Thus, knowing that we're all different and knowing that humanology adapts to each person's needs, you're able to see how profoundly powerful humanology really is. It's incredible. You see that it can help absolutely any person. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your situation is. We can help you. Humanology can help you. Thus, we must take into consideration many other things. You know, I'm saying humanology can help you. And you will tell me, okay, so why can humanology help me more than other ones? Or why not another discipline? Well, I'll give you an example as to why I think that that's the case. Imagine you start to have a negative thought, okay? You have a thought that is of worry, of something that's worrying you. For example, I don't know, you have to reach the end of the month, you have to pay rent, and maybe you don't have enough money, for example, okay? That thought has led to worry, and that worry has led to an emotion. And that emotion maybe all of a sudden starts to manifest in a physical way, and we start to have a stomach ache, and we start to feel really poor, really ill, nauseated, like you need to lay down. If you go to a doctor and you explain, oh, I have a stomach ache, they might look at the stomach ache and treat the stomach ache, but they might not dig deeper and try to find the root of the cause. And the real reason that your stomach is hurting was that initial thought that you had that was worrying you, that afterwards transformed into the emotion of how you're feeling right now, and thus manifested as a stomachache. As you can see, both the humanologist and the doctor were right, because yes, the stomachache needs to be solved. That is correct, both are right. But as you can see, humanology dug even deeper to be able to solve the problem from the root. So like that, the problem no longer exists. So it's not a weed that grows afterwards, because weeds need to be taken out completely in order for it not to grow again. That's what humanology does. It tackles the problem completely to the root, so you can take it out completely. And I must say, humanology, it doesn't cure. It's not a magic pill. It's not something that all of a sudden from the night to the day you'll feel better. No, it does take work. It does take some effort. It does take some will to want to do these things. But because it gives you so many different tools, you're able to tackle these problems and in a way find a solution. And because you found a solution, maybe you're not feeling ill anymore. It's not that they cured you, but it was that the problem that was affecting you no longer is there, and you're not feeling like that. Humanology doesn't tell you what to do. Like we mentioned before, humanology allows the client to decide at all times what he or she wants to do, how they're going to do it, and when they're going to do it. Something that is unique in comparison to all of the other disciplines. A psychologist, a psychiatrist, a life coach, all of these, they will tell you what to do. They will give you a pill, or they will tell you a therapy, and they will guide you in a way, in a very specific way. And maybe that's not the way that you want to do things, or maybe it doesn't match with your personality. Humanology doesn't do that. Humanology listens to you and provides you what you need the way that you want it. It also doesn't generalize. It doesn't fit everybody in one group. So because of that, each person is able to tackle their own problems. As you see, humanology is very unique. And I could actually go through all of the different points on this slide, but well, you yourself can actually read it as well. So I don't think there's a need for that. But you see how profoundly powerful humanology is and why I so deeply believe in it. That's why I think that humanology is what the world needs right now. It's what is going to make a difference. And I think that all people should start to implement it in their lives. I think schools should have it as part of their education system. I think that it should be everywhere. I think that it should be in books, that there should be more books that have to do with humanology, and for children, for grown-ups, for elderly, all types, because like we mentioned, reading is fundamental. It's extremely important. It changes our lives. Humanology does that too. So let's combine both things and make it even greater. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. It's been a pleasure being able to give you this talk. I hope I haven't gone over my time. And thank you. This was James Seoul.
Thank you so much, James. Amazing. Basically, my takeaway from your talk is like humanology is helping us to understand ourselves deeply and to solve the issues like from the root causes, right? And definitely through like this, we will be able to understand ourselves, what we want from life and our professional and personal relationships. Then we will be able to deal with the people having positive and optimistic approach. Thank you so much. And meantime, if you will ask, we will receive any questions, so we will take it into the panel discussion.
Perfect.
So, moving towards our second guest speaker. She's another well-experienced humanologist, and let me share her profound profile with you guys. You can see my, okay, can you see my screen now? Okay, our second speaker is 𝗛𝗪𝗢𝗪𝗢𝗪𝗢𝗪𝗀. I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. Alexandra is a holistic mind-body coach and owner of her own coaching business. Originally from Germany, she currently lives in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. As a printing engineer, she was working for more than 20 years in the corporate world in different countries. For many years, she was a partner and CEO in one of the top printing groups in the south of Germany. She is also a yoga and Pilates teacher and mother of 4 children. Great. And a couple of years ago, she started her own coaching business. Alexandra is passionate about human mind and body. That's why she developed her unique holistic mind-body approach. She is also an optimistic coach certified by the International Institute of Humanology. And today she is going to talk about the optimism coaching, the beginning. Amazing profile, Alexandra. How do you manage all these tasks? I mean, you're a multitasker. Great.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Daria. Yeah, I'm just managing how I always managed everything. It's just coming to me, you know, I'm not doing anything. I will share my screen if this is all right.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah, with the so no, wait, something is wrong. Sorry for that. What's happening? Can you see the?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah.
We can see your screen.
Yeah, but no, the why is it not? Wait, I'm doing it in a different way.
If you click on F5, you should be able to present it.
Yeah, no, the problem, I'm seeing the wrong screen, but it's okay. If you see the presentation, it's fine. Can you see the? Now it's going. Okay, sorry for that little inconvenience. So I'm going to talk about the optimism coaching in humanology. First of all, I want to explain or talk about what is coaching, so you'll get a better idea of what is coaching and what we are doing as coaches. A coach, as James already said, also of humanology, it's not a doctor, not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist or a therapist for the client. We as coaches, we really believe that our clients have the solutions, have their positive energy already within themselves. And so we are also going to look together with the client for the resources they have and to optimize, to help them to optimize their resources and to find the personal solution. Therefore, we use all kinds of different coaching techniques, and I'm doing this also in a very somatic approach. So I'm also looking with the clients where in the body the problem is showing up. As James also already said, that when you are having like an issue and you are scared, it will for sure show up in your body somewhere. So, and every client is very different. We have, for example, people who are more in the mind, in their head, and for them it's very difficult to feel their body and to identify where it is. So I'm as a coach, I'm as a somatic coach, I'm going to help them to feel the body, feel the emotions, and go deeper. And this I'm doing in a coaching session, which can be either online or in person. And it is always in the coaching session, it's about the own progress of the client. And I'm, as a coach, I'm only talking maximum 20%. It's really the client who is doing the work. So I'm listening and I'm asking questions. And it is all about discovering the subconscious. So that means that we as human beings, we are living in the here and now. That's what we think, but very often our head is running forward, backwards, everywhere, and we are not really in the here and now. And we are managed by our thinkings. We have developed hidden strategies to survive. And all this is coming very often from our childhood as well. So we have from the society, the beliefs we are having, how we need to act, what we have to do, what other people are expecting, and we are not conscious of that. And so that's what I'm doing with the clients as a coach. We are going to discover very gently what it is. What are our beliefs? What are our needs? And then with this knowledge, we can work to live a better life. And now optimism coaching comes in. This is a very special technique because it really focuses on the positive. And it's one tool of humanology. And with the optimism coaching, we help our clients to really get back out of the gray hole where they're often in, when in like the dark, when they are coming to me to work with me. So what I'm doing with these clients, I kind of take them by their hands and lead them out of the dark. With different tools, different techniques, I'm showing them that there is some light. And then we are, they are really, working on this. And in the beginning, very often it's so hard for them to see the light. And there, I think only asking questions is not enough. So I'm really giving them the tools. Like, for example, when you're feeling very down, and just focus in the evening on 3 positive things, what have been there during your life. And it may be even so bad that you are really absolutely sure there was nothing really positive. But it counts that you say, oh, it was a smile of my son, or a little beautiful flower, or the sun was shining. Or you can even say, oh, I have enough to eat and I have a shelter. So really all these simple things in life, they count for us as optimism coaches. And when you see this again, and you are thankful for it, you're grateful for it, you will turn your perspective will really change, and you will see all these beautiful things in your life again. And that's what we are doing as an optimism coach. And then after a while, you will discover that your life is really beautiful, and that you can be so happy with just the things you're having. And then love is spreading all around, and it's just a completely different life. And as James also said, the optimism coaching is really for everyone. So it's not only for the executive or private person. It's not for men or women, or it's for everyone. I'm also using the optimism coaching for children. So this is very precious, I find, because these little children, they are still very open. And when you explain to them how beautiful it is to just be aware of a little flower, they are so grateful for it, and they are so happy. And so, yeah, I just love working with everybody in optimism coaching. And now, what has optimism coaching to do with books? When I was thinking about it, I thought, oh, it has a lot to do with books, because we get so much of knowledge out of books. I'm constantly reading new books about psychology, about coaching. And I mean, there is so much knowledge out there in the books. And it is also a source of happiness. And how can that be? So for example, when you decide you're going to read a book just for fun, you can decide if this book is going to make you happy or if you are stressed afterwards. Because when you are reading a happy story, then it makes you happier. Or if it's a lovely love story, for example, now that lifts you up and your energy will come into the positive. Of course, the other way around, if you read something which is like a really horrible story and it's like draining you down, and then of course, maybe your happiness is less. So you can really also decide on what you're reading, how it is influencing your energy. And what I personally really found is that the reading is also reducing stress. I was running a test where we measured the HRV. This is the heart frequency and the heart frequency variation. And I really could see that with reading, just half an hour, 20 minutes, the heart rate variation goes up. So it's really more stable, it's better. And the heart rate slows down, which is beautiful. So I think, yeah, books are just great. So that's what I want to talk about. And for today, thank you so much for having me here. And if there are any questions, don't hesitate asking them.
Okay.
So I'm stopping.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. We are receiving questions, but I would like to take the panel discussion. So again, thank you so much, Alexandra. I really like the way of coaching you guys doing this optimistic approach. Like you're analyzing the human beings, their body and soul and mind, overall, their feelings and emotions by listening them gently. And definitely, and you gave a very wonderful example to be, we have to be grateful what we have. For example, our kids, our home, our shelter, because many people don't have these blessings. So we are always cry for the things we don't have. So we have to be very positive, and definitely books are the biggest tool to change our mood. Thank you so much. I know this 15 minutes can't cover the whole idea about optimistic approach, but definitely we will do more sessions with you in future. Ladies and gentlemen, now moving towards our third speaker. Actually, she's not a guest speaker. She is what I say, the person who worked with me so hard to plan out this event, and without her, it was not possible. So our third speaker, basically I can say the star of the show, who supported the idea of this event regarding execution and planning when we initiated. Let me share her profile with you guys. And she is none other than Jessica J Lockhart, our third speaker, and a passionate individual. The president of International Institute of Humanology is Jessica J Lockhart. She's also Read Pakistan ambassador for Panama. She is the creator of Humanology and many of its contents, methods, and tools, such as Optimism Coaching, Personal Lessons, Absolute Forgiveness, or Time Box. She is also an internationally renowned prize-winning speaker and author. And she is going to talk about humanology in action today. So Jessica, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you so very much, Javeria. I am very happy to be here. It's a great honor. And I'm especially happy because I've always had a passion for books. Anybody who knows me can tell you that ever since I was a little tiny thing, I started reading and I could just not put books down. I had to read. It was so much so that at nights I would get a little flashlight, cover my head and read in the flashlight. I remember my mom coming to my bedroom every night to tell me to turn the lights off because I was not sleeping enough. But what do you want me to say? Books were more interesting than dreams at that time, so I continued reading under the covers. But today I'm going to be taking on that other hat, the hat of humanologist. And it is with a great sense of happiness that I am here to present a topic that really comes from my heart. I'm going to be talking to you about humanology, but I will be talking to you about humanology in a very unique way. I'm going to be talking to you about humanology in action, about what humanology means when we are really using it. So I'm going to be talking about humanology as a practical discipline. I'm not going to go over the generalities because we already had James Seoul speak about them. I will just try and focus on what humanology has to offer in the practical sense. Okay, we have all the theory, as James already explained, that is the backup for everything we developed in the field of humanology. So humanology is emerging worldwide as a completely new discipline, a discipline that explains human beings. That is exactly and precisely what it does. And to do that, it doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel was invented centuries ago. It doesn't have to reinvent therapies. Many therapies were created a long time ago and have proven very, very powerful. But what humanology does is it integrates many of those fields of knowledge and meshes them together with the model of the human being presented by James, together with all the other discoveries and materials that are uniquely humanological. I would like to start by clarifying a little bit what the model of the human being means. James briefly mentioned the 4 elements that constitute the human being, and I would like to explain them a little bit for you so you understand what it is that we talk about. The first element of the human being that we usually place at the bottom of the model is what we call personal essence. Personal essence is our innermost nature. That part of us we're born with, that part of us that doesn't change throughout life and that we still have intact when we die. It's the only part of the human being that doesn't change. And there's no other discipline working with personal essence. We've tested personal essence with thousands of people from many different cultures and many different groups, many different ethnic groups, many different backgrounds, many different ages, many different everything. And it always works. When a person discovers what their personal essence is, it's like they open a window into their interior, into their true nature. And they suddenly go like, oh, of course. Now I fully, completely understand who I am. Why? Because we're born with our own unique personal essence, and that impacts everything we do. In order to explain personal essence, I will just give you a couple of examples. I think that's the best way to illustrate because it's a new concept. And you know that new concepts are usually hard to grasp, understand, and even sometimes accept. When identical twins are born, and if you have any twins or you know any twins, you will know what it is that I am talking about. When identical twins are born, they have the same genetic mapping and they have no experience in life yet. According to science, all those identical twins would be behaving the same way, would have similar personalities because they have the same genetic mapping and they still have no experience to guide them. In spite of which, the parents will always tell you that they're completely different. One of the twins might be very active and energetic. The other twin might be more relaxed. One of the twins might eat like a wolf and the other might not be interested in food. They behave completely differently. And there was no explanation for that before until we discovered that that personal essence that we all have inside is already affecting those children when they're born. It's already making them whom they truly are. Well, humanology discovered a way to help human beings know what their personal essence is. We created a method that helps people understand what their personal essence is and how it affects them. I said I will give you a couple of examples. The twin situation is a very clear example, but there's another example that usually baffles people. You know, that situation that most of us have experienced in our lives before, when you, for example, walk into a room or somebody walks into the room, you know for sure you never ever met that person before. It's a complete stranger. And you still feel something very strong inside toward that person. It could be something positive. It could be like a very strong attraction, a very strong liking, or it could be something negative. It's like, ooh, what's with this person? There's no reason for you to feel that, right? Because you haven't even spoken to the person, but that feeling is inside of you. And it's really usually very strong. Well, that is explained through humanology in the sense that your personal essence and the personal essence of that person can clash or can attract one another. James was very brave in sharing his personal essence with you today because personal essences reflect the characteristic of their bearers almost to the dot. I will use my own personal essence to explain this concept, okay? We in humanology use specific concepts to name the different personal essences and to explain them because it's a little abstract. It's an abstract concept, and we need to be able to put it in easier words, you know? So when we work with a human being and we help that person, we use concepts. One concept has a certain set of characteristics that define the concept. So James said his concept is, or his personal essence is music. Well, what are the characteristics, the main traits of music? Well, music is made up of rhythm, melody, etc. And music, blah, blah, blah. Those are the characteristics of music. Well, James resembles and behaves the same way music does. In my case, my personal essence is light. I'm a light beam, you know, a beam of light. So what would you say are the characteristics of light? If I gave you the time to answer now, but we could discuss this later on in our panel discussion. If I asked you, you might say, well, light is never stopping. It's always moving. Light can be very intense or less intense. Light is illuminating. Light can be blinding, or it can be warm and welcoming. Light focuses on highlighting things. So if there's darkness, you turn one light on and darkness vanishes. And if we specify the characteristics of a light beam, well, light beams are extremely focused, right? Well, if you ask anybody who knows me, they will tell you that I'm describing myself. I am all those things. I illuminate. I've been illuminating my whole life, and I didn't know it. I started working as a teacher. What is more illuminating than that? Then I became a translator and interpreter again. And then when I had my car accidents and I couldn't work as an interpreter, I became a humanologist. Throughout my whole life, I've been illuminating other people. I am extremely, in constant movement. Well, you see me moving. Yeah, I have to hold my hands to not move. I am extremely fast. There's nothing faster in life than light. Well, I do everything extremely fast. When I was a simultaneous interpreter, I was quite sought after because I was quite good. And I was quite good because I had the power to focus very much on what I was doing. And I was very fast. Well, all in all, if you get to know me, you start ticking all the characteristics of light, and you see that I reflect them in my own personality. So that's what personal essence means, your innermost, deepest nature. And as I said, we've already tested thousands of cases, and they all work. Once you know what characteristics you have, that is, what are the characteristics of the concept that represents your personal essence, you suddenly understand a lot of things in your life. I understand why some people feel attracted to me like moths to the light, or why some people feel blinded by me sometimes too. I know that I can be very warm and people feel my warmth, whereas if I get upset, other people feel burnt by my intensity. Well, that's another example. But we're not here to give you a masterclass on personal essence, are we? We just wanted to explain what it was. That is a general glimpse onto personal essence. The second level, on top of personal essence, in this model of the human being is beliefs. As James explained, everybody has beliefs. Yeah, we're born without beliefs. When a baby is born, the baby believes nothing. But then the baby starts experiencing life and living life and starts adopting certain beliefs. The baby starts having opinions. This is good, this is bad, this is yummy, this is yeah. You see? And those beliefs are going to be part of his or her life. All human beings have beliefs, all of us. We have all kinds of beliefs. We have personal beliefs, family beliefs, religious beliefs, school beliefs, professional beliefs, all kinds of sets that we incorporate into our mindset. Those beliefs can even become subconscious. We can just have beliefs we're not even aware we have, but they will have an impact in our lives because beliefs are the guides we use for deciding. You will decide on things in your life based on your beliefs. As simple as that. If I get up in the morning and I'm given the choice, for example, when you go to a hotel, you know, you have this whole choice of breakfasts and you can choose whatever to eat. Well, depending on my beliefs, I will eat something or something else. I remember the first time I went to a Mexican hotel and I went down to breakfast and they had all these tacos and meat for breakfast. Well, I grew up in Europe where most people have toast or croissant for breakfast. So it was like, okay, or Korean breakfasts where they have soup. It was a shock, but to them, it's the most normal thing. And they would miss their soup if I only offered them croissant. And that is also based on their belief system. Belief systems can be extremely powerful, but they can also limit us very much. And our beliefs somehow give rise to the third element or the third component in our human model, which is the worldview. Every human being sees the world a unique, specific way. You know, because the lenses that we use to see the world are created by or constituted by our beliefs and our experiences. You see the world according to what you believe. Let me give you an example. Very simple example. Imagine I have the belief that dogs are dangerous. Okay? I have that belief for whatever reason. And I'm walking in the street and I suddenly find a dog in front of me. It's a big dog and the dog goes like this. Okay? Because I'm afraid of dogs, what am I going to think? That dog is threatening me. That's a dangerous dog. And I'm going to feel fear. I might run away, I might go away, I might scream, I might react. Let's now look at the reaction somebody else might have. Somebody who's not afraid of dogs. The person's walking, finds the dog on the street, the dog opens the mouth like that, and the person thinks, oh, that poor dog is yawning. It must be tired. Hi, doggy, doggy, doggy. Because the person's not afraid of dogs, the person might approach it, might even caress it and continue on its way. Here you have a very, very simple example of how our beliefs shape the way in which we see the world and interact with it. Unless you know what your worldview entails and what it is made up with, you will not be able to handle it. You need to understand what your basic beliefs are. You need to know them and how that is giving shape to your world. A person who lives in a very, very tiny village, no internet, no television, will obviously have a more limited view of the world than a person who travels all around the world, is connected to the internet, to television, speaks to professionals all about everything. The views will be completely different. Are they better or worse? No, they're just different. But A wider worldview allows you to see much more because you only see what is within your worldview. That's why worldviews are so very important. And here's an example of a worldview. Sorry, I almost forgot. If I ask you, what is it that you see here? Well, depending on your worldview, depending on your personal beliefs, you might see a woman, or you might see a tree and 3 birds with a nest. Look at the picture now. Do you see the woman, the face, or do you see the tree and the 3 birds? Because I gave you extra information, you might be seeing the 2 pictures right now. And here you have another example. What do you see? You might be able to see a duck, or you might be able to see a rabbit. The duck has the beak to the side, sorry, on the screen it would be to the side, and the rabbit is with the ears to the back. Do you see both pictures now? There you have another example of worldview. The last, now yes, of the 4 elements of this human model is what we call personal sphere. Personal sphere is an abstract concept that we use to explain where we human beings treasure everything that is uniquely us. Okay? In our personal sphere, we have our personal essence, our beliefs, our worldview, but we have everything else too, everything that is uniquely ours and makes us who we are. We have our fears, our dreams, our memories, our thoughts. And the most important thing about a personal sphere, and all of us have a personal sphere, is that it's not breachable. What does that mean? Well, that means that nobody can enter your personal sphere. And you're going to say, what does that mean? Well, that means something very simple. Everything you have in your personal sphere, you put there at some time in your life. Your beliefs, you see, you saw the world, you interpreted the world, you ended up constituting a belief. It's your belief. Nobody can make you believe anything. It is true that people can suggest ideas. It is true that people can show you things, but you choose whether you're going to believe that or not. Memories, that's a fantastic example. You have a certain memory. I have the memory of the first time I ever spoke in public. I can tell you about it now. Does that make that memory yours? Never. You would never have my memory become your memory. You can have a new memory of the time I'm telling you about my own memory, but that's it. Everything in our personal sphere is what makes us who we are. That whole compound of things in there is what makes me me. Yours is what makes you you, etc., etc. So one of the things we work in humanology is discovering what we have in our personal sphere and deciding what we want to keep there and what we want to change because it doesn't serve us anymore. The personal sphere is our own personal domain, and nobody has access to it but us. Humanology, based on that model of a human being, then approaches human beings in a very unique way, as James also explained. There's no one pill solves everything. Humanology is never a solution fits all, never ever, because all those contents in our personal spheres are different. We cannot treat persons, different persons, with just one tool, with just one pill, with just one medicine. Impossible. We need to know the what and the how of each situation. And the most important thing is we need our clients to know it, because they are the ones who have access to their personal spheres, not us. I cannot enter a client's personal sphere and tell him this is what you have to think, this is what you have to stop believing, this. No, because it's their only choice. They are the ones who have to choose. They are the ones who will be able to decide once they know what they have in their personal sphere. Our job is to tell our clients the what and the how of everything they're going to do. For example, imagine a client comes to our office and they say, you know what? I discovered that I'm not happy. And then you say, okay, so what makes you happy? And they say, I don't know. We come across people like that so many times. Well, a humanologist will help that person define what makes them happy first, and then how to get there, how to get that happiness. And that's why, compared to other professions, humanology offers a whole bunch of tools. Oh, sorry, this one's in Spanish. It says, what do I need now? I'm sorry, we're bilingual in the Institute, and this slipped my mind. I didn't realize it was in Spanish, sorry. So that's why we say that humanology gives the human being whatever tool it is that he or she needs at that moment. Humanology is like that umbrella over there. You know, you are the person underneath, you hold the umbrella, and each of the spikes in the umbrella is a method, a discipline, a tool, a technique, a strategy. When a client comes to the office, the client might need coaching, like Alexandra so beautifully explained. They need to look inside themselves. They need to find an answer to something that is already within themselves. Well, at that moment, the humanologist will use coaching techniques with the client to find those answers. But maybe that same client comes in our next session and says, well, okay, I found that answer, but I still need to learn how to do whatever. And at that moment, he doesn't know how to do that. So coaching won't help him because the answer is not inside of him. The answer might lay in mentoring the client, teaching the client each of the steps to reaching that goal they have now. That's why in humanology, we offer our professionals the whole set of tools, methods, and materials so they can help the client with whatever it is that the client needs at that one moment. We use all kinds of things from optimism coaching, like Alexandra mentioned, to coaching, mentoring, linguistics, Ho'oponopono, teaching, NLP, Enneagrams, counseling, psychology, positive psychology, and it keeps on going on. Because human beings are complex beings. We need complex tools, or not complex tools because they're not complex, they're simple, but a complex box of tools to help them. In humanology, we also have some unique materials created by the Institute, like optimism coaching, personal essence, those are uniquely humanological, or absolute forgiveness. A methodology that is created to help people really, truly, finally let go. We teach people how to forgive, which is something that not many people learn how to do. So using humanology, you can really first get to know who you are, which is the basics. Second step, understand who you are based on all those contents in your personal spheres. And third, take action. Because once again, if I take action for you, you will not change your personal sphere contents. There will be no real change. You are the one who has to do the work. We're here to tell you what it is that you need to do and how to do it. I hope I provoked some food for thought in you and maybe some questions for later in the panel. This is my short, brief presentation on the application of humanology to your day-to-day. And remember, humanology is fantastically powerful also for companies and for public relations and for human resources, anything and everything that has to do with human beings. With this, J. I finish my presentation. I thank you deeply and profoundly, and I return the floor to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica, for explaining humanology, the basic elements. You said, if I make it short, the people who are listening, they're like, we started with the personal essence. Of course, every person has its own personal traits, and we need to understand our personal essence, our areas where we find ourselves comfortable and we can relate to it. It should be relatable. And I think I need to know exactly what is my personal essence. I need to analyze this actually. I think it's near to light, I think, what you said. And then definitely belief, which makes us different.
Can I say something, Javeria? It's funny because in all the years I've worked with personal essence, and as I said, with thousands of people, I've only come across one person. No, I'm lying, two people, because I discovered my own personal essence, and that's how it all was brought to life. I only had another person discover their personal essence after I explained what it was. Only one in the whole world. It's a complex process, and it's not usually done or achieved through intuition. It's not enough. You really need somebody to guide you. It's quite mind-blowing.
We need somebody to, to analyze all these things. And definitely after all these basic elements, achieving this, we have to take some action. This is really, I like it. Okay, so thank you so much to all our guests for sharing their wonderful presentations on the basics of humanology. And now we are moving towards our panel discussion. Unfortunately, Fatima, I think she's trying to connect, but she has some technical issues. But if she will connect with us, definitely she will join us during the panel discussion. Okay, so we have some questions, and one by one, I will ask to all of our guests. And meantime, if you will receive any questions on Facebook or WhatsApp, then definitely I will add questions in my questionnaire. Okay, so the first question of course we are, because our theme is discovery and understanding, so our topic of this panel, of course, the same. So my first question to all of you, starting from James, of course. James, why did you decide to study humanology or optimism coaching? Because it's a new discipline, and definitely it's a human nature. Definitely, if something is new, we have a fear to adopt it.
I understand. So, well, the reason that I decided to become a humanologist, to study humanology, is I've always wanted to help others. I have always believed that in order for us to advance, in order for us to make the world a better place, that I know it sounds very cliche, but I think that in order to do that, we must all work together. And I think humanology is able to provide that. I think that in order for people to work together, we need to first understand ourselves. We first need to solve our own personal problems in order for us to solve the world's problems and the circumstances that affect society, not just us as individuals. And I think that humanology is able to do that. It, like we mentioned before, it provides you different tools that adapt to each person's needs. So if we take that into consideration, if we understand what that means, who doesn't say that we could use humanology to tackle world issues, things that are really affecting a lot of situations right now? For example, we take into consideration what is happening right now with all of the refugees in the world. For example, we look at Afghanistan. We look at what is currently happening with all of those people who are having to fend for themselves, having to find their own place to live, everything because of beliefs, because of something as simple as beliefs, a belief system. If we used humanology, maybe we would be able to establish a communication between both parties, or maybe we would be able to, we don't know. The possibilities are endless. But what I do know is that humanology would most definitely help in a situation like that. So I think that humanology is powerful enough to change the world, to change many lives, and to improve things for a lot of people and give a lot of people hope. And I want to be part of that movement. I want to help the world. I want to be able to make things better. I'm part of this world. I can't just think for myself. I can't just think, oh, this isn't going to affect me. No, everything affects everybody. So it's our responsibility. It is our more than a responsibility. It's our obligation to try and do everything that we possibly can do to improve things for everybody, not just for ourselves. So that's why I want to study humanology and why I'm studying it. Thank you.
Yeah, wow. It's really, really an optimistic approach that we have to make this world better place for everyone, not for only for ourselves. Okay, so Alexandra, what do you think about this question?
Yeah, for me, I'm having more an intrinsic view of the optimism coaching and why I've started. When I started coaching, I met Jessica in a quite early stage, and we were discussing, and she was explaining to me about what humanology is. And I was like, yeah, right, that's exactly what I want, what I need also for my clients. Because as I said before, I think we won't find our optimism, our happiness when we are only, when we are coached in our head. We really have to have this holistic view of the human body. And I think that, or I really believe that the optimism and the happiness is coming from within ourselves. And that's what I'm working on with my clients. And we are living in the West. I mean, I'm from Europe. We're in the Western world where everything is kind of from the outside. And we are rushing through our lives. And so many people there are so unhappy, although they have everything. They really have everything they need to be happy, and they don't find the happiness because it's just hidden very, very deep inside of them. And that's why I believe in humanology, because we can show the people how to become happy, not because somebody else is making them happy, but they become happy from within.
Yeah, definitely. We have to make ourselves first content and satisfied with our lives. Then we definitely can make other people's lives happier and better. Okay, Jessica, what I think
I guess
you want to say a lot about this.
Well, yeah, the question is very funny because it says, why did you decide to study humanology and optimism coaching? Well, I didn't decide to study it. I just created it. No, I can tell you a little bit why I created this. Many years ago, as I said before, I was a simultaneous interpreter. You know, I did conference interpretation, that which one person's talking one language, you repeat it in the other language at the same time. But, well, life is funny. I had a couple of car accidents that were quite serious. And for many, many years, I was in constant acute pain. I couldn't work half of the days. In fact, for 7 years, specifically 7 years after my second accident, I could barely stand, like maybe 20% of the time, because my back was so damaged that I couldn't stand. I went from doctor to doctor because one of my specialties in simultaneous interpretation was medicine. And the best doctors in the world studied my case. And they all told me that it was irreversible, degenerative, and that I would be in a wheelchair by 40. The main problem was not the limitation as such, because, well, people can continue living in a wheelchair, right? The main problem was the constant acute pain. I developed an almost complete intolerance to all kinds of medication, all kinds of drugs. I couldn't take any painkillers. I couldn't take any anti-inflammatory drugs. I couldn't take any muscle relaxants, nothing. So I had to bear the pain with nothing. Just so you can have an idea, I have 6 slipped discs in my back. Not 1, not 2, 6. I seem to collect them, plus other lesions. So because of that, my nerves along my back were pinched, and that is really painful. Having to suffer that pain every single day for 7 years really drained my energy and really used all my resources. So after all that time, I started losing my own optimism. And I recall a friend coming to see me and telling me, Jessica, whatever happened to you? And of course, I started telling her my story. I had my car accidents and this happened and that happened. And she said, no, I know all that. What happened to your energy? I said, what? What happened to your optimism? If there was something very, very typical in you, very characteristic in you, was your optimism. You were always the person looking for solutions to things. You were always the person looking for ideas, proposals. And now you're like defeated. And I thought, yeah, that's right. I'm like disappointed and defeated. I don't have the drive anymore. Out of everything that woman said, one word stuck in my mind, and that was optimism. I realized I'd lost it. And that's when I started trying to change my life. I said, well, okay, yes, I have all these limitations. I'm in pain, but I don't want to live like this. I want to recover that strength I had in the past. I want to recover my optimism. And then I started, my original idea was to start studying optimism. So I started, well, because I was a simultaneous interpreter, I knew many Nobel laureates, many scientists, many writers. So I started contacting one and another. I started studying optimism. And I tried everything I could get my hands on. I tried all the techniques, all the tools, all the strategies. Some worked, others didn't work at all. And I started like polishing them. And before I could realize it, I was improving. Doing all that work on my own optimism and reteaching myself optimism changed me. And it changed to me so much that people looking at me said, Jessica, what are you doing? You're looking so much better. Oh my, can I do whatever it is that you're doing? And then I started teaching what I was doing to other people. And that's how optimism coaching was born. I started teaching other people how to recover their optimism. And as time went by, it ended up taking the shape of a new methodology, a complete method in itself, how to recover your optimism. And then that's what I thought I would do. Okay, I'm going to be an optimism coach. But then some of those people I've been helping came to me and said, okay, I already recovered my optimism. I have all this power, all this energy. What do I do now? I was like, what do you do now? I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, I want to continue growing and do. Yeah, but you have to teach me how. And I said, how am I going to teach you how? I don't know. To cut a very long story short, because this has been years and years and years, I decided I would train myself to try and help those people. And the first thing I did was, well, I was a linguist by training. And then I decided I would study life coaching, ontological life coaching, to understand the human being. So there it was already. I became a life coach. I mixed both methods, and it was still not enough. I became an expert in happiness. I studied the science of happiness. I became an expert in empathy. I trained in everything and anything that I could get my hands on that somehow helped me understand the human being. And after years and years of work and putting everything together is how humanology was born. One day I realized that humanology was a discipline in its own value. I'm not a coach. I am a coach. By training, I am a coach, but I'm not a coach because I cannot use just coaching. I'm not a mentor in the sense that I am a mentor. I'm fully trained, but I cannot just use mentoring because my clients need a variety of tools and approaches. That's why I created humanology. And that's why I decided to study everything I studied to create humanology with. Did I answer your question more or less, J.
Yeah, it's a takeaway from me, like optimism is a key to being alive and energized again. You know, if you're having some difficult days, definitely this amazing answer. And we received a very nice and warm feedback from your page, actually, from Victoria. And she is basically acknowledging the humanology team. She's saying that humanology has given me all this past years the tools of dealing with all my chronic illness, that there is always light and hope even in the darkness. And something more important, I was blocked due to my believings and findings, working very hard. My purpose of living my personal essence, everything has changed for good. I can smile again and being proud of myself. Limitations are my superpowers. A big hug to all the humanology team. So amazing, you are doing great job, guys. And my next question actually was related to this, that your contribution, the humanology contribution in the world, like what role do you think that humanology should play? It already is playing actually. I got this idea from this beautiful feedback, but what role do you think that humanology should play in today's world? Because there is so much negativity around. So starting from Alexandra.
Yeah, for me, that's what we are spreading now, the happiness and the optimism. So I think humanology should be known everywhere, because I really deeply believe that it would make people happier and that we would have less problems, because it doesn't only make happier and more optimistic, but also much more tolerant. Because of all these insights we are having, we will also understand better what is going on in other people. So we have this understanding, and this understanding can even go over the borders, over cultural differences and everything. It will, because we focus just on the human being, not on the religion, not on the language, not on the color. It's really the beautiful human being. So that's why I think it should really spread, and that's what we are working for, that we spread the idea and the knowledge.
Okay, and James, what do you want to say about it? Actually, my next question was related to the contribution of humanology in world and of course the humanity, because both things are related. So what do you think about it?
So what do I think humanology's main contribution is?
Yeah.
Whew. There's so many.
Yeah, of course.
I would actually say that humanology's main contribution is humanology, is the fact that it's a new discipline that's been created, that before it didn't exist. And just the mere fact that humanology exists is a contribution to the world, because it's what we mentioned, anybody can use it. You know, everybody can find, they can find us online. They can ask us for resources. We have a bunch of resources online already available as well. People can start using it from the get-go, which means it's very, very accessible for anybody. It doesn't matter what your circumstance is. You know, for example, with psychologists, there's a lot of people that you have to go to a psychologist, you have to pay a certain amount of money to be able to go, certain things like that. And they won't even give you a little bit of help for free, nothing. We in the Institute, we don't think that that should be that way. We believe that everybody should be able to get help and that they should be able to get the tools necessary. So we have a lot of resources for people in every type of circumstance. And I think that that's also something unique that makes humanology stand out. It contributes to the world because it provides free tools, it provides free resources for everybody. So like that they can start, they can begin. You know, because maybe with that little bit of energy that you have with those tools, you're able to move on to the next part, towards the next obstacle. You know, but it's not just that. It's not just the resources. It's the fact that humanology helps everybody. The fact that it's kind of like, I love using this example, and it's like a chameleon. A chameleon changes its colors depending on its surroundings, depending on its circumstances. And it doesn't just stay in one way. Humanology does the same thing. And I think that that's its contribution, that unlike any other discipline in the world, humanology is like a chameleon. It can adapt, it can modify, it can be done for absolutely everybody. And it's amazing. And well, like they mentioned, there's optimism as well. Yes, we have optimism coaching. People need that optimism. They need that energy. We need that motivation. Without optimism, there's no motor. It's kind of like the gasoline to our car. That's the gasoline, that's the fuel for our bodies, for our soul. We need it. And humanology has created that, has created a way of being able to obtain or to regenerate our fuel so that we are more energized than ever before. So I think that those are the two main contributions in reality. Humanology just on its own, and well, yes, that people are able to regain themselves, that they're able to see themselves and tackle life and take the reins, take charge, but really, truly take charge. Thank you.
Oh, wow, that was an amazing example. Like basically, humanology also teaches to be flexible. And some things we are coming to us, and you don't want to take it, but somehow we have to adopt the things which are coming with open heart. So, Jessica, what do you want to say about it? The contribution of humanology in the world and for the humanity.
Okay, I would like to say that at the Institute we have a mission and a vision, like any other company. Our mission is to help human beings know and understand themselves so they can take action. That's what we do. And the vision, gosh, we want humanology to become an obligatory subject in every school, in every primary school in the world. Humanology should be taught in schools, like language or like math. I mean, how can we be teaching maths and science and not who we are? That is our vision. It should be taught everywhere, at least the basics. Children should know how to understand who they are, know whom they are, and then take action from the very beginning. That's a vision. Then how can it contribute to the world and how it can contribute to humanity? Well, humanology can be applied to anything and everything. You, 𝗛𝗩𝗢, you are an engineer, so is Alexandra. How can we be engineers without understanding human beings? If we're going to be doing some engineering work, we need to understand the people that engineering work is going to be devoted to. Architecture. You know, I remember going to a Congress Palace once. It was the official opening of this Congress Palace. It was the first Congress there. And I recall that it was chaos. It was absolute, total chaos because the architect had designed a fantastically beautiful palace, but had forbidden any kind of signpost because it was ugly. Nobody knew where the bathrooms were. People were going crazy trying to find rooms because the architect was against destroying the beauty of the building. What is the use of the building then? There was another problem too. The architect didn't want to have any light switches anywhere, and all the light switches in the building were in a centralized room in the center of the building. That meant that in order to access the building in the mornings when it was dark, or leave the building at night when it was dark, you had to walk with a lantern, with a torch, because you couldn't turn the lights on or off. That's a very simple example of how humanology is needed, even in architecture. Well, apply that to everything. We need to understand who we are. Everything we do in the world, everything is devoted to human beings. It has us as the reason or as the target. So we need to learn humanology to be able to do our jobs properly. And then there's something else. When you enter our website, you see, and let me now announce very briefly that we are changing websites and we are now in the middle of remodeling our website. So if you access the website now, give us a few days so we can have it updated, because we were having trouble precisely with the version in English, and we're now updating it. But when you finally access our website, you will see that we offer training. We teach humanologists, we teach optimism coaches how to become professionals, but we also offer humanological programs for people. We, for example, help people understand and handle things such as stress, anxiety, depression. As James said, we're not here to cure them. We're here to give them tools so they can deal with the problem. Why? If I have a depression, for example, okay? Humanology will have a completely different approach than most psychologists and psychiatrists and even coaches would. We would give specific tools to the people who suffer from depression, but understanding that we're here to help them solve the original problem that caused the depression. Because the doctors will give you pills to deal with the symptoms, and psychologists might help you try and deal with the situation you're living, but you need to go deep into the root cause of the problem. And you have to help the person not only understand the root cause and deal with it, but accompany them in every single step of the whole process. And the steps might not only involve the thought. They might involve even physical symptoms. They might involve emotions. They might involve even spirituality. You never know. And that's where humanology comes in. The approach is comprehensive. We have tools and programs, for example, as I said, for forgiveness. We help people reach what we call absolute forgiveness. You know, 90% of human beings forgive either intellectually, that is, they rationalize their forgiveness and then forgive, or emotionally. They consider that forgiveness is very important. And even if they don't agree intellectually with whatever it is that that happened, they might forgive because they love the person or because they want peace. That doesn't mean that they successfully forgive 100% of the cases. Even if you forgive intellectually and you forgive emotionally, sometimes those situations that trigger your pain, your anger, your guilt come back to chase you later. That's because you haven't completely forgiven. To completely, absolutely forgive, you have to be able to let go of the story. And no one teaches you how to do that except humanology. And that's something we teach. We are now about to, well, we recently launched, but we're now about to make public a new program that is entitled, I Lead My Own Integration. This program is dedicated to anybody who has to move countries and cultures. You know, the whole world is moving, and there's refugees, migrants, expats, people who have to enter a new culture and are completely at loss and suffer so much because they don't know how to integrate. They have all these beliefs that block them and the beliefs of others that don't accept them. They have all these problems with their worldview. They expect certain things that never happen. So this program is especially targeting those people. We have other programs, such as, for example, how to learn to speak in public. Well, you can see that I have quite a lot of experience in that field. Well, as you can see, we have all these very specific target-oriented programs. Then we advise companies. We do sessions and group sessions in companies to help them solve certain problems. For example, optimism coaching for companies. Motivation. How do you gauge and value and assess motivation? Well, we have specific tools for that. We help them design specific candidate selection programs based on humanology. So I could go on and on. We have a ton of programs, a lot of ideas, because as I said at the beginning, everything goes back to basics. And what is basics? The human being. Did I answer your question, Javeria?
Yeah, well crafted actually. And you know, you gave the example of engineering. Yes, I am basically HVAC and design engineer, and my job is to treat the air, you know, condition the air. And humanology is conditioning body and mind simultaneously, actually. So this is amazing. And you know, you were talking about like youth and children. That yesterday we were having discussion that if a kid is facing bullying, then the person who's doing bullying is basically a victim and he needs help rather than a person who's affected by that bullying. So we need to change these concepts. And so how humanology, you know, works for the youth, because they have a lot of pressures. They have education, there's a lot of competition in education, and then after having degree, they have a, you know, they're not getting jobs and, you know, pursuing their careers. So how humanology works for teenagers or youth? So starting from James. You're also youth, young boy, mashallah. Starting from you, James.
I'm sorry, Javeria, can you please repeat the question? I heard half of it.
I was asking like humanology, how it works for the youth, because they have a lot of pressures also. Education, competition, and most of the time parents, you know, push them to have, you know, to perform in other extracurricular activities. If, for example, as a mother, I want like my son have to be a good speaker. I enroll him different web designing courses. There's a lot of pressure on it. How humanology can work for them?
Okay, I understand. Well, first of all, I think that humanology can help everybody. It's what we've been saying throughout this entire event. It adapts to each person's needs, so that includes the youth. I myself, I consider myself youth. I'm 25 years old. I'm not that old yet.
Actually, I said this. You're youth, mashallah.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, I use humanology in a bunch of different things, not just in helping others, but in helping myself as well. You know, we mentioned personal essence, for example. I use my essence. I'm music, like Jessica mentioned. I use my essence to be able to make decisions, to be able to decide in which direction I want to go. You know, if there's times where two options look very, very good, and I don't know which one's best. So my personal essence can help me with something like that, for example. Or we look at optimism coaching. Optimism coaching grants you all of the energy, all of the motivation, all of that optimism that you need. And for example, we're in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of scary things are happening. A lot of very, very horrible things are happening. And that takes a toll on people. You know, we may be humanologists, we may be optimism coaches, but we're also humans. And things take a toll on us too. So I apply optimism coaching on myself. I use the tools actively on myself every day. So like that, I'm able to maintain my energy. So I'm able to maintain my optimism. So I can, like that, I can keep helping other people, because we need to stay strong. We need to be able to be there. You know, I use humanology in absolutely everything, absolutely everything. You know, we mentioned the model of the human being. It helps me understand people. It helps me connect with you, 𝗛𝗩𝗢𝗢. It helps me connect with Alexandra. It helps me connect with Jessica. It helps me connect with the audience that we're speaking to right now. You know, it helps me with absolutely everything. Jessica mentioned that we have a speaking course. Well, as you can see, I gave a 15-minute presentation today. I've taken some of the tools from that course and I've implemented them and have used them to my advantage, so like that I can make my message much more clear and direct towards the people that I want to try and reach. All of these things are extremely powerful things that you can use to your advantage, and not just the youth. But if we're focusing on the youth, you just mentioned your kids, that you try to get them to do activities. And I think that's great. I think that that provides them resources. It makes them quick on their feet, and they know how to solve any obstacle that they might find in front of them. Well, if they also knew humanology, if they also knew optimism coaching, they would have even more tools to tackle absolutely everything. You know, maybe all of a sudden they would realize, oh, wow, I love giving presentations. I'm going to become an international renowned speaker who gives conferences, and I'm going to motivate people. And you mentioned web design. Well, maybe I'm going to take this course and I'm going to teach my knowledge on how to create these websites to others. I'm going to speak to the youth because I speak their language. So they will be able to listen to me. They will be able to connect with me much better than maybe with somebody who's twice their age. Things like that. As you can see, it's got a utility for every person, for any need. What I can tell you is that it will always add to your life. It will never discount. It will never minus. It will never affect your life negatively. Having this knowledge, having knowledge in general, is something positive. It helps us with tackling things. So take humanology as well. Put it inside your personal sphere, put it into your belief system, learn about it, familiarize yourself with it. So like that, you can use it to your advantage. Because I feel like I'm a superhero sometimes when I'm using these tools, because I feel invincible. You know, in fact, I even have it tattooed. I have invincible tattooed. It's because I know that no matter what the problem, no matter what the circumstance, the obstacle that I may come across, I know that I'll be able to overpass it. It might take me a little bit of time, but I know that I will get there. And that's thanks to humanology. So I think the youth would really benefit from this. Actually, everybody.
Yes, actually, and I totally agree with Jessica that humanology should be introduced at the school level, you know, to change the mindset, to achieve this optimistic approach throughout, from your career and, you know, school life and then your professional life, definitely. And even professional life, you barely need this optimistic approach, because there are so many leg pullers, insecure people who can't see you growing. So at this scenario, you have to be optimistic and, you know, having a positive approach. Alexandra, I received one question for you. Let me read it for you on our page, that optimistic coaching can take long time to effect. in someone's life, how do you ensure consistency? Because sometimes people have, just run away.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm working with people, no, I see them on a regular basis. And that's also what I say when you start coaching. You should see the coach on a regular basis, because otherwise you are really, it's too difficult. So, and when the optimism coaching, I mean, it's also, as Jessica and James have said, it's not a pill we give and then everything is good. It's hard work. And this is also for optimism coaching. So we as optimism coaches, we give the possibility to our clients to work on themselves, to have this self-growth, experience the personal growth, but it's hard work. And you have ups and downs. And that's why it's really important to stick with it, even if you have the feeling from one week to the other, oh, I'm not feeling better, I'm even feeling worse. Just keep on doing it, keep on going.
Good. So humanology basically it helps us to, make our characters strong also. Yeah. From a childhood and to the youth, and then when we are entering into our real life world, definitely it needs consistency, definitely. Okay, so because all of you have inspired us a lot, we have learned a lot from the thought-provoking conversation. So definitely one question popped up in my mind, which I've already shared with Jessica, and definitely like me, many other people are thinking that how can I become a humanologist? So one by one, I want to take opinion and suggestions. And should we do that? Do we need humanologists? So starting from Jessica.
Well, we definitely do. The world needs a lot of humanologists. We've been talking about humanology, and we've spoken a lot about optimism coaching. Okay, optimism coaching is one method, all right? And we said we have other methods, etc. When you train as a humanologist, the whole training course is about 2 years. In fact, we're now having it approved as a master's degree by an American and Ecuadorian universities. And we hope to have it officially approved soon. There's one piece of paper that is missing. And once that is passed, we will offer this as a master's degree, okay? Having said that, the master's degree is divided into 4 diplomas. The first diploma is the whole optimism coaching degree. That is, you learn everything about optimism coaching and you become an optimism coach. The second one is what we call personal development. In this second diploma, you learn about the personal essence, about who you are, everything that has to do with you as a human being and understanding who you are. The third one is the one on human relations, everything that has to do with understanding the other, understanding everything that has to do with the way you relate with them and they relate with you. It has every tool you may need for conflict solving, for family humanology, for humanology in groups, everything you may need. And the last one, the 4th degree or diploma, is human development. We learned about us, we learned about others, now we have to learn about us in the world, because the world has a great impact upon us and we all have our impact in the world. So that is, how do I deal with life in general? Here, for example, you would include absolute forgiveness, because it's how you relate to the rest of the world too. So every one of the degrees, every one of the diplomas is accredited as an equivalent to a university degree, a university diploma. And the whole humanology is accredited as a master's degree level degree by the ACCPH. The ACCPH is the UK, the United Kingdom's accreditation body for coaches, counselors, psychotherapists, and hypnotherapists. And in that sense, we're fully accredited. So you can train to become, as Alexandra chose, just an optimism coach and use optimism coaching as a tool that you're going to be using in your own career. Or you can go for full humanology, like James is doing, to become a completely full-fledged humanologist. That also includes all the others. So if you want to become a humanologist, or if you want to specialize in any of the 4 diplomas we offer, you can contact us. You can get, once again, onto the website once it's completed, and you can become fully accredited by us. One of the advantages of our training is that is, first, unique in the world. There's no other humanology training or optimism coaching or this kind of coaching or methodology in the world. And second, more and more and more clients are demanding it and requesting it, because humanology can be applied and can be used in many different formulae or aspects. You can do one-on-one sessions, of course. You can work as Alexandra does one-on-one in sessions with her clients, or as James explained, you can also do group sessions. For example, imagine, as I said, we work in a company and there is a conflict in the company. Well, you can work in the group, understanding the human interaction from the humanological point of view. We also do advising and counseling in companies and in groups of all kinds, families included, sibling relationships, couple relationships, because that is, of course, humanology as well. And then, well, of course, we participate in events all around the world. But there's more we do. And I have to mention it here because we are in Read Pakistan. We have published a series of books, and we're constantly publishing books and texts. We have blogs, we have a whole library of resources available to you on humanology. We first published The Optimist in You. The Optimist in You is a book that focuses on helping you recover your optimism. It's like an abstract of the whole methodology of optimism coaching. And it's directed to you taking control and taking charge of your own optimism. We have a book like Coaching for You. Coaching for You is a set of coaching tools, and it's explained in a way that you can start using the tools when you read the book, which, by the way, was illustrated by James Seoul himself. A beautiful set of illustrations. Then we have a book that is a favorite among teenagers. Yeah, you were asking J. So we have What Story Do You Tell Yourself? That completely helps people understand that they have the power of their own story and how to do that. And we have other books. We have another book that focuses on human communication, but so far we only have it in Spanish. We're now trying to get it published in English as well. And we will soon have new publications that you will for sure find extremely interesting. But it's not just books. As I said, we have blogs, but there's another publication I would like to make available to you all, and it's a free publication. We have a monthly magazine called The World of Humanology. And that magazine has between 50 to 60 pages of full color spread outs with articles, interviews, information, tips on everything and anything having to do with human beings. It's published every month on the 15th, and you can access it for free. You just send us an email and say, I want my magazine, and we register you, we subscribe you, and you receive it every 15th at home on your mailbox. So as you can see, Javeria, we foster and we foment reading everywhere, because we understand that books and reading in general are extremely powerful dissemination tools. People can learn a lot about humanology, and as a result, a lot about themselves by reading and applying those books.
Thank you. Considering this with your message, because our overall theme was like human evolution through books and reading, definitely. So just before I finish this panel discussion, I have taken this message from you, James and Alexandra, a small message regarding reading, how it helps us to establish and to, planning things easily in our lives, because definitely reading is very important. Alexandra, although you have told us in your presentation that reading is the biggest tool to change our mindset, but a small message.
Yeah, reading is really a personal growth in any direction. It's really about personal growth and discovering the world.
Wow, thank you so much. Yes, James.
Well, what I would like to say about reading is we see the world, and the world already is magical, but through books, we're able to create our own magic. Food, like books are the food for the soul. It's what makes us be able to escape our reality and enter any reality that we wish to enter. It helps us grow. It helps us at times of need. A book can be our best friend. It can be our support. It can be our answers. It can be so many things. Books are incredible. They tell you not just a story, they tell you so much more, because a person wrote that book. A person with their own thoughts, with their own beliefs, with their own way of seeing the world created that. They put a little part of themselves in there for you to get to know, for you to connect with that person, for you to see. And that on its own is already magical. Books have unlimited power. They give us knowledge, they give us life, they give us so much, and we must cherish them, because it's what we mentioned before. Knowledge is also power. It is what makes us be able to tackle things, and books give us that power. Without books, where would we be? Where would the world be if we hadn't created books, if we hadn't created a printing press that would allow us to have so many books? That's thanks to knowledge. That's thanks to sharing those connections with people. So my message to you is keep reading if you want to have magic in your life. If you really want to have a truly special, beautiful, spectacular life, read as much as you can, because it's the food for the soul. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. And this is a vision and mission of the Read Pakistan, also to empowering minds through reading, developing knowledge-based society through power of books and reading. Definitely, it's an amazing power which we have. Thank you so much to all our lovely guests. Learned a lot from you guys, Alexandra, Jessica, and James, giving your valuable time. And definitely, it's not here. It's the beginning of a new journey, actually. Why I'm saying that? Because now I'm going to share our future events. And because, as I said earlier, that this event was an icebreaker to introduce the science of humanology. So, and we will continue this with a series of events. And we now I'm going to share 2 shout outs with my co-moderator, I can say right now, because she is collaborating everything with me. And she will talk about the shout outs also. We will have our scheduled event on every last Saturday, like we did this weekend. From today, because it's for the icebreaker and we are just introducing the concepts of humanology, that's why we kept it for 2 days. But from the next month, every last Saturday, we are going to plan out our event, and our next event will be on 25th of September. And the theme of the event will be the humanology and the violence against women, because these days we are receiving so many cases regarding this. And definitely we will invite humanologists, experts, and writers like Alexandra and James. So guys, hang on with us. Okay, so I'm going to share a little shout out with you guys. Let me share screen. Okay, so as I said earlier, that our next themed event will be on 25th of September, and every month, last weekend, we are going to do this. And this time, this month, September month, we will have a theme humanology and violence against women. And because we are collaborating with both the collaboration with the Read Pakistan and International Institute of Humanology, then definitely how we can not have our reading and something. So we are also going to launch our humanology book club starting from October, and it will be conducted every Thursday, timing from 7 p.m. to AM in Pakistan Standard Time, so you can schedule your timeline and thoughts. Jessica, you want to say something about these shout-outs, some details regarding this?
Yes, if I may. Yeah, for sure. I want to add that every Saturday, I will say it, Human Evolution Through Books. Now, every Human Evolution Through Books symposium will include at least one humanologist and another type of expert and 2 authors, international authors. So to this edition, because it was the opening one, it was the inaugurational one, we will have the authors joining us tomorrow. And we will have the pleasure of having 4 fantastic international authors who will be talking about human evolution through books. And then every week, every month, on that Saturday, we will have the pleasure of also sharing panel with at least 2 international authors. So for all of you who love books and who love human beings, this is your event. Every last Saturday of the month, you have to join us and disseminate the word. Tell everyone to join us. I think this can really start changing things in the world. As for the Humanology book club, well, there are many, many, many book clubs out there. People read and they like to share, but there's only one Humanology book club. Why? What is the difference? Well, first of all is the way we're going to be selecting books. We're going to try and select books that help human beings grow. Understand and know and understand yourself, and then take action. We will be choosing specific books so people get to understand who they are, get to know who they are so they can take action. We're going to have weekly sessions to analyze each of the books. The books will last 1 month, and in that month we will read that one book, and we will go like a certain number of pages every week to go through the books. But there will be more. We're going to have guest writers, we're going to have humanologists, and we're going to have specific practical workshops. Yeah, we're going to have humanological workshops that the members of the Humanology book club can access at a discounted rate. And that's going to be just for the members of the Humanological book club. All other people will have to pay the full price. So, you're going to have a lot of gifts, a lot of information, and a lot of understanding and growth, which at the end of the day, it's what's going to help you become a better person and lead a better and happier life, as Alexandra was telling us today. So if you want more information on any or either of these 2 activities we're organizing, send us a message. We will be more than happy to send you the information and to enroll you in either or both of these activities.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Yes, and we will share the link of the registration for the book club also, and we will start it from October with every book suggested for 1 month, and we will thoroughly discuss the book, and we will do some additional activities as said by Jessica. Thank you so much, James, Jessica, Alexandra, and of course, Hamdan, for the wonderful support you were giving us. And without you, that event was not possible. Thank you so much, Hamdan. And tomorrow, again, we will be back with the new theme, growth and change, how humanology helps us to grow and change our mindset and our life, personally and professionally. And tomorrow, we have wonderful panelists, guests, Jennifer Decline, Liliana Tknefelbacher, Darren Feng, and Dr. Paul Hockeymeyer. And inshallah, I'm so touched. Whatever you have discussed today with us, like definitely you guys are doing great job supporting humanity, thinking people like we should have positive approach, whatever be the circumstances. Like, and for example, I said that this COVID, because it's like it's a blessing to this guys, because we are doing online sessions and during these Corona and COVID situation, I got connected with Jessica, and it all happened. So sometimes, every sometimes bad situations, difficult time brings blessings towards us. We need to check out it.
Which is, Javeria, one of the things that you learn in optimism coaching. Of course.
Always consider Corona in this, in this regard. But we are doing online sessions and we are discovering many new things in different lives, because I'm doing connected with many organizations, different organizations. So I'm, working on different aspects. So definitely, we always have positive approach, and definitely the absolute forgiveness, because sometimes people have done something wrong to us. We always, having grudges in our lives, and it sometimes doesn't affect them because whatever they have done, they have forgotten everything. But we are thinking again and again, we are just hitting in our mind that that guy has done something wrong to us. And it's affecting our lives, actually. So we should have some positive approach in our lives to grow and to prosper. Thank you so much once again. Tomorrow, we will come back again at 5 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. And after that, every month, we will be here with amazing guests, coaches, humanologists, writers, and authors.
That is 9 a.m. Panama time. See you here.
This is 9 a.m. Panama time, yes. And actually the 7 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time and the 5 p.m. KSA, because right now I am located in KSA, so I have to look around the 3 time span right now. Anyway, thank you so much. This is signing off from my side, 𝗛𝗢𝗢 𝗔𝗩𝗢, the Vice President International Chapter of Read Pakistan, and of course from J Lockhart. Thank you so much for your tremendous effort for initiating and planning out all this event. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Alexandra, James, and Jessica. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.